Good evening, everybody. I'd like to call tonight's village board meeting to order. Today is Tuesday, February 12th, 2013. We're in the village hall boardroom. It is 7 o'clock. We have actually two meetings today. One will be our village board meeting. The second will be our committee of the whole meeting immediately following our board meeting. Our first item is the Pledge of Allegiance, and I see in our audience that we have a Boy Scout in the audience. Why don't you step up here, come up to the microphone, introduce yourself to us, and you could lead us in the pledge.
Hello, my name is Joshua. I'm from PAC 111 in LaGrange Park, and I'm visiting this town meeting to take notes for my citizenship in the Community Merit Badge.
Well, great. Well, welcome to the Village of Westchester. We're glad you're here from the Village of LaGrange Park. And would everyone stand for the pledge? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Mrs. Booth, would you please call our roll tonight?
Mr. DeSuso, Mr. Novak, Mr. Perry,
Present.
Mr. Sloan,
Present.
Mr. Stecker,
Present.
Present. Present. Looks like we do have a quorum. Janet, are there any presentations this evening?
No, there are not.
Nothing. Under item number 5, public comments and questions. Anyone would like to address the board to give as many visitors as possible an opportunity to speak in the interest of adjourning by 9? Please limit your comments to 3 minutes in length unless further given time by the board. Does anyone like to approach the microphone and fire away? Anyone? Anyone? Okay. There appears not to be any public comment. Is there any public hearing this evening? I don't believe so. Public
no,
hearing?
there's not.
Okay. Item number 7, consent agenda. We have items A through E. Record of bills, approval of department reports, minutes, ordinance amending the container section of the garbage, resolution authorizing execution of professional service agreement with Burke. If anyone needs anything pulled.
Item E, please.
Item E. Anyone else? If not, is there a motion and a second to approve items A through D?
So moved.
Second.
Brian. Second by Nick. Kathy, please call the roll.
Mr. Perry,
Aye.
Mr. Sloan,
Aye.
Mr. Stecker,
Aye.
Mr. Yurkovich,
Aye.
Mr. Foya.
Aye. Motion carries. Those items are approved for public review. Item number E. Is there a motion and a second for approval of the services?
So moved. Second.
Nick and Frank. Brian.
I just asked this be tabled until after our discussion on the streets coming up in the cow.
Okay, there's a motion to table. Is there a second as well?
I'll second it.
Motion to table. All those in favor of table?
Before you vote on that, is that going to push back any timetables or anything with regard to this project? I know we're looking at the 13 street program and also the 14. Is a delay till the next meeting going to adversely impact that?
The direction we received from the board last meeting was that the board was interested in bidding out March 1st for those two streets that were impending proposed design. If the proposal, it's a 2 to 3 week work product to complete those drawings and specifications to have them ready for bid.
Okay, so is there going to be a delay, is it, or not?
If the agreement's not authorized for approval tonight, what's that going to do to the timetable?
It would potentially postpone the bidding services or the bidding of that project by 2 to 3 weeks.
Okay, so there will be a delay then, in
Yes.
other words. Okay. Okay, well, there's a motion to second on the floor to table this item. Take a roll call. Kathy?
Mr. Sloan,
Aye.
Mr. Stecker,
Nay.
Mr. Yurkovich,
Aye.
Mr. Perry?
Nay.
Mr. Julia?
Nay. Okay. Motion to table has been defeated. Okay, on the information, Brian, did you have any other question regarding E?
No, I just thought it'd be appropriate that we, based on whatever discussion takes place in the committee, that we'd, address this afterwards as opposed to beforehand, given that there's 2 streets on here that were not picked for the earlier commencement of work. I thought it'd be more appropriate that the bid be split out between the 2 streets and the 2 first streets and the 2 second streets.
It's my understanding that this is just for the engineering, though, for all of those
I
streets?
understand that.
So,
We're only going to bid on the first 2 streets initially. So my point was, I think it'd make more sense to split the bid into 2 pieces, or the proposal into two pieces.
Engineering
Correct.
contract?
Correct.
From what I'm, correct me if I'm wrong, but at the last meeting, were we not told that there'd be no difference in price by keeping some in 13 and some in 14?
Yes, that was what I
Mark,
was
is
going to
that-
comment, so.
So I'm just requesting the proposal be split. I don't have any issue with the pricing or anything like that.
All right, well, that was my understanding. I did have a question, though, so Brian, I'm glad that you brought the item to light for a little bit more discussion. As I was reading through that, I noticed that we were taking, there's a price in there for core samples and that. And I don't,
Yes, the reason for that item, Mayor, was to determine the actual pavement composition, to determine how much material is going to be removed so we can inform the contractor whether it's going to be 2 inches, 4 inches, 10 inches. We believe Bond Street definitely has a concrete base. We just don't know if that's only 2 inches or if the contractor is going to be bidding on 8 inches of removal.
yeah, the only question I have is I know in the past that our staff has done core samples.
Okay?
We have our own little core machine or whatever we can do, so I was, my question tonight was going to be, is it something that we can do in-house and send those results to you and take a deduction on that? That was kind of
Yes.
my question. Is that something that
That's
maybe?
something the village can do. And the question was, when the proposal was put together, is this something that the village wants to provide? And so we threw it in there just in case the village said, we're too busy right now, we don't have the ability to do that. There is a line item, it can be removed if needed.
Okay.
I think
Anyone have any problem with-
previous
I'm sorry?
in previous proposals, they've actually had, and we've had the discussion between the different engineers. Some just put in, they put the line item in without a dollar amount, and I know it's been a point of our discussions in the past. And then I think the last grouping of streets, I thought we did those in-house.
That's what I was
So-
thinking, if we can take a deduct on that, or is that something that you're willing to work with us, then certainly it'll be a deduction in some of those engineering costs,
Sure.
so.
I see that's a line item. Is it a one-time line item of $8,000?
I don't believe.
Listed on
I
page
thought the line item.
5 of 6, the estimate of fee.
We had a.
That's material testing and inspection by others?
No, we had a
Is that it?
separate line item for the cores. Under task 1A, geotechnical investigation, $4,900.
Okay, that's included.
Those are the pavement cores that were included in this contract.
Okay, and then what does the material testing and inspection cover?
That's during the construction of the project for the testing of asphalt, stone, concrete to ensure that it's meeting the specifications that were stated, physically grabbing a sample of the concrete or the asphalt.
Would that be performed or capable of being performed in-house or not? Okay, so we're looking at a deduct of $4,900?
Yes, correct.
Okay.
So I'm sorry, just.
4,900.
The 4,900,
Yes, sir.
okay. Right, are there any more questions for Mark, Brian, anything? No? Okay, there's a motion and a second on the floor for approval of this item.
That would be then subject to an amendment for the maker and the seconder to eliminate the $4,900 charge for that geological testing.
It was
So
Nick
moved.
and Frank. Are you
Oh,
good?
second.
Okay, all righty. Where's Kathy? Kathy, please call the roll for approval of that resolution.
Mr. Stecker?
Aye.
Mr. Yurkovich?
Aye.
Mr. Perry?
Aye.
Mr. Sloan?
Nay.
Mr. Pulido?
Aye. Carries as well. Under item number 8, active agenda, resolution waiving bids and authorizing the purchase of the fire truck rescue vehicle with funds received from the FEMA 2013 Assistance to Firefighters Grant Program.
So moved.
Nick, second.
Second.
Tommy. Okay, any discussion? If not, Kathy, the roll, please.
Mr. Yurkovich?
Aye.
Mr. Perry?
Aye.
Mr. Sloan?
Aye.
Mr. Stecker?
Aye.
Mr. Pulido?
Aye, motion carries as well. Item number B on the active agenda, motion to accept the bylaws for the Economic Development Committee. Motion by Frank?
So moved. Second.
Second by Tom. The only discussion I had is in the bylaws, as far as I recall, the EDC was put together by myself with the interviews and then the resumes to the whole Board of Trustees with advice and consent. So what I would suggest that the language indicate that it reflects that in the bylaws, that I will certainly receive the resumes as I've done in the last 3.5 years, and then I will forward those resumes to the board. So what I'm asking for is to be appointed by the president with advice and consent of the board, pretty much as are all of our committees. The other question that came up, and I think, I don't know if Reverend Mills brought it up in the EDC. When we first put the EDC together, we had a seat for the chamber president because we wanted the Chamber of Commerce to be certainly involved in this committee. This year, the chamber president has asked that another chamber member continue on in his stead, and we verified that at the chamber meeting today. So, one of the seats was supposed to be for the chamber president. I would ask that the bylaws somewhere reflect that that seat will be in there as a voting member. And I've talked to the Chamber of Commerce. It's not going to be a rotating member of the chamber board. It has to be a member of the chamber board that wants to be constantly involved in the EDC and continue to come to every meeting. It's not going to be this guy this time and this guy the next time and the third guy the third time. We want consistency on the EDC. And the plan was if President Dunn is unable to make the meetings, which he said he could not, that I think Mr. Horak is offered to be a liaison from their board, but that was always supposed to be a voting member of the board, as are the other voting members that are there.
Fine.
So I just want to make sure that that's reflected in.
Well, I'm not sure if it's worded like this, but we were talking yesterday that the chamber president could assign somebody to take it, just like you said, and that would be the permanent member. So
That's
he
correct.
could assign himself, or he could assign somebody else.
Correct.
Okay.
That's absolutely correct.
All right, good.
President Pulley, is that one of the 7 members will be
Yes.
the president of the chamber? Okay.
That's the way it was designed from the onset. So I would ask that those 2 addendums be incorporated in this. Oh, I'm sorry, Brian.
I just had a question on Article 7.1, amendments to the bylaws. I thought we were going to require that these be ratified by the board. As we're adopting these bylaws now, that any changes to these rules or bylaws would be ratified by this board.
The way bylaws work, it's different than the enabling ordinance. Obviously, the enabling ordinance or legislation has to come from the corporate authorities of the village. The bylaws are the entities' rules of procedure, et cetera. So they typically have the ability to amend those items. But if you want to provide that they can only pass or amend bylaws, you'd need to add that to the motion. Pass or amend, subject to prior approval by the board.
Does anyone, Frank, that's your committee. Any comments? Is there an issue?
No, I don't have any issue.
So,
So I
Anyone
just
else
asked
have an
it to be
issue?
amended to the, to include that as well.
That's fine.
That would be in Article Roman numeral 7.
Correct, 7-1.
So Mike, you'll add the language to
Yes,
that
sir.
as well? Okay. Are there any other things that, the bylaws for the Economic Development Committee that need to be adjusted or changed? Anything B?
Nope.
That's it? Okay.
So I'm sorry, Mike, how's that going to read?
That Article 7, number 1, I would add to it the words, "and only upon prior authorization by the corporate authorities of the village."
Good.
Okay, so we have that change. Voting member being the president and/or appointee from the Chamber of Commerce, and then appointed by the president with advice and consent of the board. Those are the changes and amendments. Okay, so motion is second on the floor for the approval. Kathy, please call the roll.
Mr. Carey?
Aye.
Mr. Sloan?
Aye.
Mr. Stecker?
Aye.
Mr. Yurkovich?
Aye.
Mr. Pulia?
Aye, motion carries. Thank you. Managers report. Ms. Janet?
Good evening. A couple things to note. Tomorrow evening at 6 p.m. here in the courtroom, the village will be hosting a presentation by the Illinois Comptroller's Office. It's called the Power Program, and it is an initiative to have small business owners participate in state contracts. So they're going to walk you through how you would apply for that and be able to participate in that program. So we hope to see all the local business owners here at 6 p.m. Tomorrow, Wednesday, February 13th, in the courtroom at 6 p.m. Village Hall will be closed next Monday, February 18th, for President's Day. As always, the police lobby will be open 24/7. We will be holding a special board meeting to discuss the fiscal year 14 budget next Tuesday, February 19th at 7 p.m. here in the courtroom. Also want to let people know that the fire department will be offering another CPR class, Westchester residents only, on February 21st, 2013 at 6 p.m. The course will be held at Fire Station 1, and the class size is limited to 8. The class, once again, will be a Heart Saver CPR course, not healthcare provider. Anyone interested should call the firehouse for availability at 708-345-0433. Also wanted to let anybody interested know that the next ARP driver safety course will be held on March 28th and 29th, and you can call Molly Keene here at the Village Hall for more information. That's it.
Thank you. Michael, reports.
We have an item on the agenda tonight for executive session regarding the discussion of closed session minutes. I just want to remind everybody that we do have an obligation to take action on those closed session minutes twice annually. So I believe that's scheduled to be on the active agenda for the next meeting. So just a reminder. Thank you.
Okay, item 11, board member reports, a new business. Tom, see you're on the game here.
Yeah, in your packets, you guys got the surveys that we did over the summer and everything. Is there any questions about them? I mean, they did it, I don't know if you guys seen them, but they presented them in a nice pamphlet too and stuff. Yeah. So CAB has been working hard on those and everything. we have another meeting tomorrow at 7 in the community room as well.
Actually, I do want to compliment the cabin, certainly under your liaison leadership, that the Citizen Advisory Board has certainly exceeded my expectations in the last year with some of the events that they've done, and even proffering this resident survey.
Yeah. Mrs. Santiago did a great job doing this.
So,
Kudos to her.
again. And how many members do you presently have, Tom?
7.
7. Okay. Well, thank you, and certainly
I will let
send
them
our
know.
thanking as well.
Yep.
Nikki, anything from?
Right now, we're just trying to get, it's kind of, when it rains, it pours with the police and fire as far as promotions and initial eligibility lists. It seems like around June of this year, we're going to have captains, lieutenants, sergeants, and eligibility. It seems like everything is all going to be coming up this summer. So we have legals looking into the captain's exam just to make sure that it's in compliance with the new Promotion Act. And then their Fire and Police Commission is trying to get some dates together, and they are going to be meeting with the vendors to talk about the different scopes that each one of them can offer. So we should be getting some dates soon, and hopefully we'll have a test in place. So by the time because I know we're short in a couple spots, so then we can plug them in right away, get some of these guys into the academy.
Good. Thank you.
Mhm.
Frankie?
We were going over the bylaws. We've been going over the summit meeting results and talking about that. And we started discussion on a beautification program. Try to get some monies for that going. And that's it in a nutshell.
Brian, Brian, anything?
Nothing
you need
tonight,
to
thank you.
add? Thank you. Okay, Miss April?
I'd like to remind everybody that February is Safety Awareness Month. If they would review page 3 in the newsletter, we have a lot of great safety tips for property, home, and their physical safety. Also to remind residents that we are pushing our Neighborhood Watch program. Our motto is Partners in Prevention. So for more information, they can read the newsletter or look that up on the webpage. We'd also like to point out that at a previous village board meeting, one of our residents brought to our attention the potential confusion and possible safety issue that could be as a result of our community service officers' uniforms. And to let the residents know we take their concerns and our employees' safety to heart, we have gone and had patches made, community service officers. These will go underneath their patches on the side and across the backs of their jackets and their bulletproof vests.
Jim?
Nick had made mention, been working hard with the Fire and Police Commission as far as upcoming promotions and eligibility list, which is kind of opened up ourselves to a better relationship between the fire department as well as the police and fire commission. So I see good things going forward. So I also wanted to thank the board for their support through going through this grant process and supporting the fire department while choosing a vendor. I know you'll be exceptionally happy with the vehicle once it's delivered. Approximately by November 22nd of 2013, we should be looking at it through the window at least if it's cold out. Thank you.
Annie?
Good evening. Just a reminder that the posting for a part-time finance clerk is on the village's website. So if you think you may be interested or know anyone that might be, the application deadline is the 22nd, if I'm not mistaken. The third quarter finance report was passed out just prior to the meeting. I'm sure you all haven't had a chance to get all the way through it yet, but when you do, should you have any questions or concerns, please feel free to email or call or stop by. Be happy to go through that with you. And a first draft of the 2013-14 budget documents will be available this Friday, so you I'll have an opportunity to review it prior to our first budget workshop meeting next Tuesday, the 19th.
Gregory.
Good evening. I don't want to take away from anything that you may be discussing later, so forgive me, but the Special Events Committee group has, we convened on Monday, and if you're going to discuss that, I can hold off.
Go ahead.
Do you have things well, I was just going to
I'll
mention
chime
that,
in if I need.
well, Molly and I have been working with the rest of the group, but Molly more than I in a lot of respects in reaching out to some people, and we've gotten some information from the former Fest Committee members on vendors, things that they learned over the years, and if they pass that down to the group. And again, Molly's taking that full steam ahead at this point to prepare the event, which currently I'm going to make the date known now as Saturday, May 4th. And at this point, we're looking at Gladstone Park as being our location choice, upon approval of the land itself being available for us from the Park District. But again, we're moving full steam ahead on that, and looking for an exciting day. It's a one-day event. For those of you who don't know, it will be a one-day event in the park. Games, a few hours of people gathering, hopefully residents all getting together in lieu of our fest. But I'll let the mayor expound on that. One other thing, just for trustees more than current employees, and I'll be talking to the employees in the very near future. Looks like either Tuesday or Wednesday next week, I'm going to be doing an IP address change. Now, how that affects or what that means to you board members, if you have a cell phone or an iPad that has email connected to it, I'll be sending an email out probably Friday. As soon as I can verify that's the date, Comcast will help me change that over. But we ran out of methods to connect from the outside because of the fire department's new connectivity in, because of some cameras that we're remotely viewing. We're running out of IP addresses, so we're on that probably either Tuesday or Wednesday. And again, I will send out an email beforehand and let you know how to reconfigure your smartphone, your tablet, to make sure that you're receiving mail and that nothing stops you from doing that. Now, in that email, I'll also put the time that I'll be doing it so that we have no disruption. And as always, you can always call me if you have some sort of hiccup or something like that. But I'll be around here to help everybody in-house. But for those of you outside, I'll be sending emails out.
Great. Thank you. Dave, Public Works.
Thanks, Sam. Since the last board meeting, the Department of Public Works has been active, continuing with the removal of ash trees. We've removed 12 more trees. We've got 77 remaining this year, which is the first year of our 4-year program to remove 825 ash trees throughout the village. We've also repaired 10 water main breaks since January 23rd. We've spread out 300 tons of salt in 5 salting episodes. We've also been pothole patching. And then also an update on the sanitary sewer lining project, which is known as the North Basin 384, which is bounded by Drury Lane, Westchester Boulevard, Gardner, and Canterbury. In situ form is the contractor performing that work. They're a subcontractor, National Power Rotting, has been out flushing the sanitary sewers in preparation for the lining of those sewers. And that project is moving forward. They've not started lining yet, but they're almost finished cleaning the sewers.
Did they let you know if they found anything, say, offensive in there? But since the last cleaning that we had in 2009, did they tell you the condition? Was there a lot more roots growing in there or anything else like that, or does it seem to be somewhat clear sailing since
Seems
the
to
last
be
cleaning?
pretty clear sailing. Yeah, nothing alarming or unforeseen.
Melissa.
Good evening. Just wanted to let everyone know that all of the village's commercial spaces that are available for sale or lease there's a searchable database. There's a link to it on our website, so that if there's any businesses that are interested in looking for space in the community, they can go onto our website under the economic development section of the community development webpage, and they can search for spaces that are available. We also updated demographics for the 2010 census information, I think some of the old statistics were for 2000, so that information has been updated. We've been working on updating our forms and checklists for building permitting, so all of the residential permit pamphlets have been updated to include checklists for what needs to be submitted. All that information can be viewed online at our website. We're still working on getting the commercial pamphlets updated, so as they become available, we're updating the website with them. I'll be meeting with the Chamber of Commerce's Business Promotion Committee to talk about ways that the village can work with the chamber to promote our local businesses. We had 2 businesses that opened in January. Dunkin' Donuts at 31st and Wolf construction is still moving forward. They're expecting to open mid-February. McDonald's is still moving forward. They expect to be done with their renovations by the end of February. And they're open during construction, so you can make sure to stop by. That's really it.
Kathy, your turn. Nothing? Mark, anything? Thank you. Okay, follow up on a little bit that Greg mentioned earlier. We're looking to have some type of family-style event. We all know that the fest will not be held at St. Joseph's, so what we're trying to do is do several outings throughout the summer months and into the fall. We have the car show, and if Paul was here, he could certainly talk about that he starts in May on Mondays. He also talked about having the third Thursday as some type of band or DJ night out at 31st and Wolf as well. We didn't think that was enough, and we kind of tried to partner with the Park District, which we have not only Gary on the board now, or on the committee, but Derek as well. And one of the first suggestions that we kicked off was having an event at Gladstone Park. We geared up for an event on May the 4th for a Cinco de Mayo type festival, and we are in the planning stages of drawing out how it's going to set, what we're going to have for vendors. Certainly we're going to tap into the in-town vendors as much as possible, and have some type of entertainment, some family things to do there, whether it be dancing, and we're still in the process of firming that up. But generally, we looked at a May 4th date, which is a Saturday. I believe that the time parameters were, correct me if I'm wrong, 3 o'clock till 8?
Right.
3 o'clock till 8. And the Chief of Police has been totally involved, as Jim has as well, for safety concerns and or any security concerns as well. One of the concerns from the Park District, and there was a few little ones that I think we handled. One was the prohibition of possibly selling alcohol there, and I know Gary was taking that back to the board, and I hadn't heard any final results in that as well. What the committee thought would be prudent that in the event that we do have some type of alcohol that is part and parcel with that type of festival, that it would be in a totally controlled area, cordoned off, so to speak, so that nobody wandering around throughout the north end of the park with any alcoholic beverages whatsoever. So we talked about that and some of the tent work, and we're trying to put this together. The whole thought of this process was to try to get as many village residents and their guests to attend a function for Westchester throughout the season. We've talked about other movie nights that we're planning along the way. We're certainly looking into the costs of purchasing our own screen versus renting the screen, depending on how much it costs. And those things will be brought back as that information is gleaned to present. We're trying to make Westchester as fun-filled and event-filled throughout the summer and into the fall with an Oktoberfest and the Veterans Run, and possibly enhancing those as well. So we're certainly looking to local vendors to be part of this, and we're going to be moving forward. So that's kind of where it's at right at this moment. I don't have any other information. I'll check with Gary at the park or Steve to see if they acknowledge that thought or not, as far as the alcohol. That's pretty much where we are at this point in time. So, again, this is trying to have Westchester people and their guests have a good time throughout the summer, since we don't have the luxury of having the 3-day event this year. So, that's all pretty much on that. The second thing I wanted to talk on is, most of you know, board members, that we had to appear at the inquisition by the Moody's people this week, or last week. And I am here to tell you that I was very proud to be with Janet and Ann. Most of you know I'm not the numbers guy, and I leave it up to the experts who I believe we have. Zorn was there as well, and I have to tell you that we were able to answer any and all questions about the village, about how we cooperate with one another as a board, and how our goal is the best for our residents who live here. You know, that meeting came on the news that the Attorney General and 16 other Attorney Generals had filed a lawsuit with the federal government against Standard & Poor's about their rating practices, and how the thought that there was, or allegation that there was some contributory negligence to the bailout that they received as a result of inflated ratings, where there wasn't that the rating to be had, and certainly that's the argument. So we went in there thinking, oh my gosh, here's another rating company that I think we have a AA2 rating, that we would not be able to sustain even that rating that we received a scant 2 years ago. And we haven't received that information as yet as what our rating will be. But I think, and Zorn is here today, that the two raters were there, were very, very favorable on our commentary. They were very favorable on our financial data that was provided and answered by Ann and Janet, the professionals. And I think we did a pretty good job of hopefully securing that AA2 rating. So it'll cost us less than if we received a rating that was lower than that the interest rate would be more. So I know I sent out an email to everybody that I was pleased at what happened. Zorn could probably speak a little bit about that as well. But I think our staff did a yeoman job, and we probably could have killed all the ash trees that are out there from the amount of documentation that was being sorted through and passed back and forth and being inquired upon. So we were there probably about an hour and a half, 2 hours, and I think we did a good job. So thank you to staff for putting that together, and certainly to the board for the cohesiveness that we have. That's all I have. I see we have an executive session, 5 ILCS 122C6, setting a price for the lease of property owned by the village. And item number B, 5 ILCS 122C21, discussion about the closed session minutes that Mike spoke about earlier. So with that, if there's no other business for our board meeting, is there a motion to second to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Tommy and Frank. All those in favor of adjourning?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposition, say no. Our board meeting stands adjourned.